Imagine someone telling you they were whipped and beaten from age 5 to age 19, and then they are thanking their abuser for it. Today, we are going to be looking at a real post from somebody who went through exactly this and why this is one of the most dangerous traps in parenting. I have been punished and disciplined strictly and harshly by my dad from age 5 to age 19. Looking back at it, it has been very beneficial. I would not have been in life where I am not if it was not for my father's strict regime. I inherited our family's construction engineering business. It requires many skills and competences. It was always my father's goal for me from the very beginning. He strives to teach me the necessary things to take over. I have been strapped, caned, and whipped. Routines and rituals created safe surroundings for every single spawning and discipline sessions. I never felt unsafe. I have an excellent relationship with my dad today. We sometimes talk about the regime back then. We often talk about the strict discipline regime I have for my son. It looks a lot like my dad's. I have learned a lot about discipline, spanking, restraining, training, and hard work from him. I am very inspired by him, and most times he is my substitute disciplinarian when I am away. From a psychological standpoint, this is a very common coping mechanism among adults, and I found out that this is an example of what is called generational trauma transmission and rationalization. When some people grow up in highly physically abusive environments, their minds tend to find a way to survive the emotional contradiction of being hurt by the person who was supposed to love, protect, and guide them. I'm going to give a breakdown of why people react this way and why they tend to support this very harmful upbringing. For number one, I have the resolution of cognitive dissonance. This means the mental discomfort someone feels when holding two conflicting beliefs, values, or ideas at the same time. When a child's brain cannot handle the conflicting thoughts of my dad is hurting me and my dad loves me, they tend to survive that mental stress, which is called the cognitive dissonance, by saying my dad is hurting me because my dad loves me and I am bad. And this is one big lie which a child tends to grow up with and carry in their adulthood just to, cope with the pain or to distract themselves from the truth that they were abused. I'm sure many of us as children, when our parents hurt us, they will come to us instead of apologizing, they will come to us to say, I'm doing this to you because I love you. I am flogging you, I am punishing you and hurting you, insulting you because I love you. And that is a very big and manipulative lie. And that's why many young adults today, especially Nigerians, support um, the flogging and torturing of children as a form of discipline. And many adults also tie this childhood trauma, this abuse, which they wouldn't even call it an abuse or a trauma, they tie it to their success and their good behaviors. Number two is the confusing of correlation with causation. The author from the post, which I read, said he got successful due to his father's harsh discipline, meaning that those harsh discipline worked for him, the beating and strapping and all of that worked for him. And this is an example of what is called logical fallacy. He was successful not because of the abuse, because he was resilient, because he was hardworking. And these are things that parents can show to their children without having to be harsh on them, without having to torture them and flog them. Giving them the right direction, the right guidance can easily make anybody successful. So I actually even believe that having to flog children just to guide them is a form of lazy parenting, because if you are not a lazy parent, you will take your time no matter how slow it is, no matter how slow it is going to be, you will take your time to guide that child to a path of success. Number three is the generational trauma transmission and normalization. This is when severe discipline is all someone knows and it has become a normalized culture. Looking at Africans as an example, they brag about this culture. This culture of having to flog children because they are stubborn or disobedient or whatever, it has been so normalized. If you go on social media and you see a post of maybe a parent flogging their children or insulting their children, and then you see people from other continents or countries saying, oh, this is wrong, this is abuse, then you are going to see like lots of Africans and Nigerians saying, oh, you haven't met my African mother, oh, you haven't met my African father. Bring that child to me, I will flog that child and train that child. It is funny, and at the same time it is not, because it is one way in which this circle is being passed on. If we are having adults that are normalizing this thing, saying it's okay to um inflict pain on children rather than showing them the right way, it's it is definitely going to be passed on, because if me as a person is refusing to accept the truth, definitely I am going to, you know, pass that on to my child. From the story which I read, he mentioned using the same regime on his son, and this is because he sees this as normal. And one way to breaking a circle is to accepting that that trauma, that um, form or whatever you went through, it's abnormal. The fourth one is what is called trauma bonding. This is a psychological bond that forms between an abused person and the abuser. It is driven by circles of intense punishment, followed by affection, validation, or a sense of safety. This is when the person who terrified you is also a source of your survival. So your brain tends to bond with them as a form of coping mechanism. While I was at home last year, my dad came to I and my sister with a post from Facebook, and it was a girl making an appreciative post to her parents, and she was, just sharing how her parents flogged her, used belts and wires, tortured her, and how she felt like um they hated her when she was a child. But now that she's grown, she's appreciative to them because the floggings made her who she is today. And now she has gotten to know that they loved her for having to deal with her that way. So my dad showed us that post and was saying that this is what is expected of children, to be appreciative to their parents for flogging them and torturing them because they love they love them. They're trying to show them the right way. They want what is best for them. Now, advocating for this kind of upbringing is very dangerous. When people that have platforms with lots of followers, even if you don't have lots of followers, Having to come out to explain that the abuse you went through made you a better person is very dangerous, because this is what makes this circle to continue. This is what makes this trauma, the abuse, to keep passing on to other generations. And this type of advocacy tends to give abusive parents the permission to go on with that manner of abuse, to keep on inflicting pain and harm on vulnerable children. This gives them the feeling that they did right, because my dad felt like he did right. He was proud of what he did to I and my sister growing up. He felt like this is right, and if he has a chance he would do it again. And this is very, very hard to see. This is very difficult and very insensitive. And for the parents who are in support of this form of upbringing for children, I want to let you know that children raised in fears learn how to hide mistakes, not how to make better choices. They learn to become perfectionists. They learn to think it is wrong to make a mistake at all, when in reality it is very okay and normal to make mistakes to get to the top. And I want to urge us all to be the generation that ends this trauma. And for my fellow young adults, I want to urge us all to be the generation that ends the cycle. Let's stop normalizing trauma. Let's heal our childhood traumas so we don't pass it on to innocent and vulnerable children. I'm going to be the voice of the voiceless children and let you all know that it is really painful, really, really painful to see the parents we look up to having to torture us with belts and wires and cane just because we make mistakes, just because we are stubborn, when in reality children are supposed to be guided. You need to guide them, no matter how slow it is, no matter how hard it is. You need to take your time. You need to be patient with them. You just going ahead to drag a cane to flog a child because they are disturbing you or because they are stubborn just shows how lazy you are and how quick you just want a solution to that problem. Please let this end with us. Thank you. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment on whatever you think. I hope you got to learn something new. See you next week. Bye.